We have reached the Premier Sports Scottish League Cup quarter-final stage. Aberdeen are one game away from a trip to Hampden. Standing in their way, high-flying Partick Thistle. Kick-off is coming up in 45 minutes at Pittodrie Stadium. The host of other quarter-finals still to be played. Kilmarnock obviously made it to the semi-finals last night, beating Dundee United by 2-1. Celtic have just literally scored against Motherwell, half-time not far away there. And later this evening, we really hope Dundee can upset all the odds and beat Rangers at Ibrox. Hi everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Wednesday evening as we preview our Cup quarter-final against Partick Thistle at Pittodrie. Team news coming up. Later on, I'm going to be speaking to Partick Thistle manager Ian McCall, who gave me a fascinating insight into how he prepared for tonight's game. And I'm also going to be speaking to Scott Nipper Thompson, who's making his debut on ABTV tonight. We talk about tonight's game and also a little bit about his time at Pittodrie. So that's all to come. But let's start with the team news. So the manager has made 3 changes. Matty Kennedy, Hayden Coulson and Vicente Besserwin all return. Jack McKenzie, Jayden Richardson and Connor Barron are benched. Could he go with a 4-3-3 formation tonight? We shall have to wait and see. Let me give you some. This is what the manager actually had to say. I think I speak for the whole group when I say we're all really looking forward to it and very excited about the prospect of trying to get to Hampden. It's as simple as that. That's the motivation, and that is the biggest incentive of all, especially for a new group of players. So, what I suggest is get your comments in about the team news. What do you think about the team news tonight? 3 changes. I have to be honest, I'm relieved that he has put Jayden Richardson on the bench because I think Jayden has been struggling, particularly recently. And if you watch the game at the weekend against Hearts, when Cochrane, I still don't know how he's missed that chance. Jayden was completely flat-footed, ball watching, and it's not the first time he's done it. And he's very susceptible when the ball is coming across that area. He's ball watching. Now, I'm not trying to suck eggs here, but if anyone's played the game and if anyone's been coached, if you're playing at fullback and if your 2 centre-halves sort of get pulled out, the first thing you have to do is come in and you have to cover. But you've got to keep your body open enough where you can see what's going on over on the left-hand side if any balls come in. But you're also fully aware of what's going on behind you with basically the man you're supposed to be marking. But what he's done is he's totally flat-footed and totally square onto the ball, just ball watching. So I think the manager has absolutely made the right move by putting him on the bench tonight. I also have no issues with Connor being on the bench. I think, let's not forget, he's been out for 12 weeks. He only came back at the weekend. I think just bed him in nice and slowly and get him back up to full speed and full fitness. So I think that was also a good move to put him on the bench. So let me know what you think. Right, so I was absolutely delighted to have caught up with Partick Thistle manager Ian McCall yesterday before they set off to head up the road. I'd like to thank Brian Welsh, Partick Thistle's PR guy, for helping me arrange this interview with Ian. So we obviously spoke about the game and their preparations. It made for quite an interesting chat. Here's Ian McCall. Ian, thank you so much for joining me today. Very much appreciate it, considering that you are still very much in your preparation stage for the game against Aberdeen. Coming into the game, you're in pretty decent form. How have your preparations gone?
Really well. I think we managed to win at Hamilton Saturday. We didn't play particularly well, which made the victory even more rewarding. I think we've played 15 odd games and been beaten twice. We've scored quite a lot of goals, but we recognise the task ahead of us is a little bit harder than than we face weekly. Just like Dundee's is going to Ibrox and the other teams in playing higher league. Aberdeen are third, fourth team in Scotland, I would suggest, with them or Hearts. So it's going to be very, very difficult, but the preparations went really well.
Just purely out of interest, how much due diligence do you have to do for a game like this?
Well, I think you've got to do that for all the games. I mean, arguably the league's far more important than this game, albeit it's a very special trophy for our club. But we've got 3 or 4 different reports on Aberdeen, and I think Neil was at the Dundee United game, and I think I just need to ignore that report because I don't think they played like they could. So we saw them on Sunday. So yeah, I mean, it's we know a good bit, but Jim's changed formations quite a lot, so we'll just have to wait and see.
From your own point of view, how fascinating do you find it pitting your own tactical wits against a manager like Jim Goodwin?
Yeah, well, I've done it before, and when he was coming through, and I hold him in the highest regard. You always look forward to it. Yeah, I mean, that's the same as most weeks, so I wouldn't say that this is any different. But I've known him for a good while, and as I say, as he was coming through, I always suspected that he would go on and manage at a really good level, and he's at that now, and it'll be up to him and Lee to kick on from there.
Just to finish off, you're going to have a fantastic travelling away support tomorrow night. How much of a boost will that be for you and your players?
Well, it's brilliant. They were great at Hamilton on Saturday as well. They were really, really terrific. And the atmosphere at home games and most of the away games has been absolutely fantastic. And they're really buying into the type of football we're trying to play. And they know now I'm not going to change it at Pittodrie. It's just we're going to try and play the same way, and we'll win or we'll lose or we'll draw. So they've been fantastic, and long may that continue.
Thank you so much for jumping on today. It's lovely to talk to you. Safe travels up the road, and I hope you enjoy the occasion.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Right, here's the match stats for tonight's game. So Aberdeen are looking to secure their return to Hampden for the first time since 2018. The last time these two sides met in the competition was back in 2007 in a third-round clash at Firhill. Aberdeen won 2-0. Derek Young and Antti Considine on the score sheet that night. And Aberdeen come into the game having won 6 from their last 7 home games. And the man in the middle tonight is David Munro. Right, Scott Thompson is to come. Right, let's start getting some of your thoughts in tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's great to see so many of you on YouTube tonight. Lorraine Baxter. Hi, Lorraine. How are you? She has said, pleased Matty Kennedy is in the team. Alan McDonald. Hi, Alan. I thought Mackenzie did enough to stay in the old. Kevin Main has said, a strong starting lineup. Hope the Dons treat it with respect. It's due and go for the jugular. I completely agree. Alan goes on to say, overall an attacking lineup, so all good. Kaiser has says, fit like everybody. Fit like yourself, Loon. Scott W has said, we have a strong squad. It's a strong lineup for tonight. Attack-minded. I think we'll see goals. Kaiser has gone on to say, midfield will be a lot better now with Barron back. Rod Cowie. Hi, Rod. Richardson has struggled in his defensive duties, no doubt. Also, I'd like to have seen Joe Lewis get a game in the Cup. Mike Douglas has said, decent side. Duke had to start. And think a goal each tonight from him and Majowski. How good was Duke, by the way? For me, he's got to start every game. Posted it the other day, had a fantastic response to the post. He has to start. He's just brilliant. Scott W has said, I also think it's good to see Goodwin mentioning the fact it's a new squad. I think too many fans aren't taking that into consideration when looking at certain performances and results. Keep all these comments coming in. We will get to them. But first, let's catch up with a guy who's making his debut on Ali Beg ABTV tonight. He's a local lad. He is Scott Thompson. Scott played for Aberdeen, signed for Aberdeen in 1992 and eventually left in 1996. He made 25 appearances for the club, scoring just the 1 goal against Falkirk in the playoffs. But he lived the dream. Grew up in Seaton, always wanted to play for Aberdeen, and eventually he got his wish. And I was absolutely delighted to have caught up with Scott from his home earlier today to discuss tonight's game and his Pittodrie career. Here's Scott Thompson. Hi Scott, it's great to see you. Thank you for jumping on tonight. Okay, I would like to begin by asking you Just for your general feelings and your thoughts ahead of tonight's game against Partick Thistle.
I think it'll be a tough game, Ali, to tell you the truth, because Partick Thistle, as you know, are going along quite well. They're top of the league. The Championship's not an easy league to get out of. So I think Aberdeen will be in for a real tough time if they try and take it too easy, because they'll be up there thinking they could win as well.
One of the things I would like to ask you, Scott, and I would like to think that you've gone through the same emotional feelings. You know, back in the day when we were going through the relegation playoff, you had to play in some big games. So there was pressure. There was a lot of pressure. Tonight, Partick Thistle almost have a free ticket, which puts all the pressure on the Aberdeen players to get a result. So is there a coping mechanism for players when they know they have all this pressure on them? How do you deal with it?
I think you just deal with it. Obviously, it's game by game, Ali, but realistically, you go into every game wanting to win. These people that say things like, I've heard people saying, oh, when Aberdeen play against Rangers, they raise their game, or play against Celtic, raise their game. You don't raise your game. You try and play every game, and you want to win every game. But as you said, all the pressure will be on Aberdeen. They're the home team. They're the Premier League club. And Partick Thistle will be there thinking that they've got chances because they're going along nicely at the top of the league as well. So if Aberdeen don't roll their sleeves up, it will be a tough game.
Mm. Let me ask you about your time at Aberdeen. Obviously, local lad, lived the dream. What was it like for you to play for your boyhood club?
I mean, it was unbelievable. Obviously, I was at Brecon City at the time. I'd seen Drew Jarvie. I'd seen various scouts watching me, but I'd seen Drew Jarvie and Chick McClelland at the games as well, and I'd seen them. And then John Ritchie, who was my manager at Brecon City at the time, told me that Aberdeen were really showing interest, and they'd put in a bid, but Brecon had knocked it back, and I was like, "What? You've knocked it back?" And they says, "Yeah, we've got a price that we want," and I understand that. And they ended up getting the price agreed, and then I signed for Aberdeen. And I think, tell the truth, I went in, and it must have been like 8:30 in the morning. I went in, and Teddy Scott was like, "Yeah, we don't start training until 10 o'clock, but it's great to see a young lad coming in so enthusiastic." And I was just there so early, and he says, "You're going straight into the first team changing room, and I'll introduce you to the players." And I'm like, you'll no need to introduce me to the players because I know them all. I've seen them all. They're my heroes. So it was kind of funny like that, but no, it was great. And as I said before, we've spoken this and touched on this before, Ali. I mean, I was going in there as a young striker, and you're going in there, and I was up against like Hans Hillhouse, and it was Ian Jess, Scott Booth, Duncan Shearer, Mixu Patalainen, Billy Dawes, to name a few of the strikers when I was there, with just two subs, and the competition was fierce. And I mean, if I named the rest of the players that were playing all round the team as well, I mean, you had the likes of Snelders, you had McKimmie, you had Alec McLeish, you had Bobby Connor, Paul Mason. I mean, it's endless, the players, and how good a squad we had at that time.
You see, the thing is, you obviously you had to drop down, but you know you played hundreds of games, Dunfermline, and you know you got a testimonial at Dunfermline. So the time that you had at Aberdeen must have put you in good stead for what was to come.
Oh, totally, Ali. And as I said, even training. I mean, at that time, like the squad I just mentioned, there was three squads, and it was the first team squad, there was the reserve team squad, and there was the East Reserve League as well. Now, if you didn't want to be in the East Reserve League, that means that you weren't doing something right, or you were, or you were on your way out. You wanted to be, and even see if you made the reserve team. I mean, it was really good because you're still playing with players coming back from injury and players that couldn't get in the squad that weren't playing. And as I said, you could only use up to 13 players then, so you were always in like good company. And then if you got a chance to go in the first team or in the squad, I mean, you were over the moon with that as well. But sometimes you were actually better being in the reserves because you got a chance to play. Because sometimes if you were in the squad, you knew that the players were that good that were there. You were going to be like 14th, 15th man. You know, you weren't going to start, or sorry, you weren't going to play. So you would rather be in the reserves and play. But the competition was just unbelievable. But I mean, it was great. And as I used to say to people, playing alongside Jim Bett, playing alongside Alec McLeish, playing alongside Stuart McKimmie, older pros, and then you've got your Ian Jesses, Scott Booth, Stephen Wright, Gary Smith. I mean, you're learning something, and it was just brilliant.
Just to finish off, mate, do you still keep in touch with some of your former teammates?
I still speak to a lot of them to this day. I still speak to the likes of Stuart McKimmie, Bobby Connor, Big Duncan, Theo Tenkat, Paul Mason I spoke to recently, Ian Jess, Stephen Wright, and Gary Smith. I mean, there's loads of them. We still keep in contact, and the banter's no changed. It's still the same, to be fair. We still give each other a ribbon and that, but nah, it's brilliant.
Tremendous. Scott, thank you so much for jumping on. It's great to see you, and hopefully we will see each other very soon.
No problem. Cheers,
Bye,
Ali.
mate.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There we are, Scott Nipper Thompson, local lad who did good. If you can't get to tonight's game, this is what the programme cover looks like from Dolly Digital. Isn't that one of the nicest programme covers you've ever seen? This is a take on a former tie between Aberdeen and Partick Thistle many, many, many moons ago. I think that's an absolute stunner. Right, let's get some more of your comments in. Mike Douglas has just confirmed that Jim Goodwin has said Aberdeen will play 3 at the back tonight. Mike, thanks for messaging. So that makes me think, and I hope you're in agreement, that it will be Coulson, Scales and Stewart, which will allow Matty Kennedy sort of to get further forward. Is that what we think? Okay, let's get these going. Where are we? Right. Kevin Main has made a really interesting point about Duke. He said he's in the mould of Zero Ali, always on the edge of the seat when he's on the ball. Hope he gets a goal tonight. I have to be honest, I completely agree. Alan Nicol has said, good decision to put Barron on the bench after coming back from injury. He took a good few knocks from Snodgrass at the weekend. Do you know what? I was thinking about this the other day. Obviously, I didn't want Connor to get injured, obviously. But I didn't mind him coming up against Snodgrass at the weekend because he's such an experienced player who's been round the block. And to get a couple of whacks from him, to let Connor know that he's in a game, for me, that will only develop him as a person and it'll develop him as a player. So I don't actually have an issue with that. Kaiser has said, I remember Scott Thompson from the 90s. Honestly, he's a super lad. Ian Stevenson has said, a great team selection tonight. Let's hope we get the job done. Kaiser has also said, great to hear from Scott Thompson. I'm hoping to potentially do a Beggs banter with him because he's got a really fascinating Aberdeen story. John Bleasdale has come on. Hi, John. How you doing? No excuses tonight. Get the job done and book ourselves a semi-final spot. Right. Who likes your history? On this day in the football club's history, 1976, Paul Hartley was born. Paul is 46 today, 32 appearances, 8 goals. And Leighton Clarkson was born this day, 2001. He's 21 today. And what about this? Back in 1966, Pat Wilson officially became Aberdeen's first ever substitute. If you've enjoyed tonight's show, please feel free to subscribe. Excuse me. We are edging ever closer to 1,700 subscribers. Thank you so much for all your support to date. If you are watching for the first time, I keep saying this, and forgive me for keep saying it, but we do really have big plans here on Ali Beg AB TV to bring you so much Aberdeen Football Club related content going forward. So I really hope you do enjoy what you've seen. And if you do, please feel free to press that subscribe button. Right, are there any more comments coming in? No, none whatsoever. So if you're just joining us, let's just quickly remind you of the team news for tonight. So the manager has made 3 changes. In come Matty Kennedy, Hayden Coulson and Vicente. And Jack McKenzie, Jayden Richardson and Connor Barron have all gone to the bench. The manager has also just confirmed that Aberdeen will play 3 at the back tonight. So all that's left to say is thank you for watching. Good luck to the lads tonight. Get this over the line. Take no prisoners. Get at Partick Thistle early. Don't let them settle. Let them come out and be nervous, because they've got a free ticket tonight. So let's get stuck right in and let them know that they are in a game. We, as fans, we haven't been to Hampden for 4 years. We desperately want to get back. Good luck to the lads tonight. See you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock for the review show. See you later.